Standing right there with the sun and the moon in Leo is Mercury, the planet of the mind, of thought, and of communication. And at the time of this new moon, Mercury is retrograde, and it is moving under the beams of the sun. In traditional astrology, this is a condition called combustion. Imagine trying to write a letter right next to a bonfire. The heat is so intense that the paper is in danger of catching fire. Your thoughts are not cool and clear. They're being heated, purified, and burned down to their most essential truth. This is what is happening to our minds and our words right now. It's a cosmic cleanse for our thought. This means that this is absolutely not the time for grand pronouncement, loud declarations, or winning arguments. The real work of this new moon is internal. Our communication is being turned inward. The universe is asking us to pause and reflect on our own narrative, our own story, our own truth before we speak it. The fiery light of the sun is burning away all the fluff, all the posturing, all the things we say because we think we should. It's asking, what do you really stand for? When all the noise is stripped away, what is your core message, your true belief? This opposition to Pluto demands an honest answer to that question, because you cannot truly lead from the heart if you are unwilling to look at the darkness, the power dynamics, the consequences, and the uncomfortable truth. That's Leo versus Pluto. True, lasting courage is not naive. True courage is not blind optimism. True courage sees it all good, all the bad, all the beautiful, and the terrifying, and it still chooses to act with an open and compassionate heart. Yet it acknowledges the shadows. It chooses to bring light. This brings us to the most practical, the most personal, the most important part of this entire forecast: what we actually do with this potent, challenging energy. How do we take this big story and make it useful in our own lives? This is where we need to talk about two words: intention and compassion. I want you to imagine holding a seed in the palm of your hand. Let's say it's an apple seed. When you look at it, you see its tough, dark outer shell. It's a protective layer. If you were to crack it open, you would find the fleshy part inside, the bulk of the seed. But hidden deep within all of that, there is a tiny, almost invisible point of life. In botany, it's called the germ. Not germs as in cooties, but it's the germ of life. And that tiny point is the only part that holds the power of life. It is the only part that contains the blueprint for the entire apple tree. The husk can't grow. The fleshy part can't grow. Only that little tiny germ holds the future. This new moon is that germ. It is a time for us to consciously let the husk, the outer layers of what you think you should want, the expectations of your family and society, the noise of social media, the old stories you tell yourself, let those all fall away. It is time to let the fleshy part, the vague, generalized wishes dissolve. It's time to find that one tiny, potent point of pure intention, the true spark of what you want to create. So the first task is to ask yourself, what is the single most vital thing I wish to grow in my life over the next, say, 6 months? Not a list of 10 things, one thing. What is the core seed? What is that quiet, dark potential ready to burst forth? Planting that seed of intention is the primary work of this new moon. You find it, you clarify it, and you plant it in the dark, fertile soil of this moment. You whisper your deepest wish into the quiet night. But here is the crucial, non-negotiable lesson from this intense Leo-Pluto opposition. Intention is not enough. We can have the most beautiful, heartfelt, noble intentions. We can want to be compassionate. We can want to be of service. We can want to create peace in our families or our communities. But if the impact we actually have on the world, on the people around us, doesn't match that intention, then the intention loses its power. It becomes a hollow wish, a self-soothing fantasy. It's like planting a seed but forgetting to water it, or planting it in rocky soil. The intention may be pure, but without alignment, it won't bear fruit. We see this tragic dynamic play out in the world all the time. reflected in the news we read. A foreign policy intended to bring stability might lead to displacement and suffering for ordinary people, as we hear about immigrants being deported to unknown places or families being divided by policies. A leader's promise of prosperity for all might result in a deeper economic crisis for the most vulnerable, leading to widespread hardship. An attempt to secure a border can have heartbreaking human consequences, as seen in the struggles of individuals caught in vast systems. Think of reports of stampedes at aid sites, or the complex human cost of border enforcement, where the goal of security can inadvertently lead to suffering. These outcomes are not always born from evil or malicious intent. They are often born from a dangerous disconnect between the idea and the reality. They are born from a failure to see the whole picture, a failure to listen, a failure of compassion. This is where compassion comes in, and I don't mean a soft, passive, gentle sense of pity. Under this sky, we are being called into a fierce, active, lion-faced compassion, the kind of compassion that requires immense courage. It is the courage to truly see the other person, to step into their shoes, even when it's uncomfortable. It is the strength to not just talk, but to listen, especially when the feedback is hard to hear, when it challenges your view of yourself. It is the integrity to ask honestly and humbly, I know what I meant to do, but how did my actions, my words, my energy actually land for you? What was the real effect? This is our self-reflection, a willingness to adjust. So the invitation of this new moon is twofold, like two sides of the same coin. First, clarify your core intention. Meditate on it, journal about it, talk about it with a trusted friend. Get to the essential germ, that single point of life that you want to create. Make it real, tangible, and true to your heart. Second, make a sacred promise to yourself to actively bridge the gap between your intention and your impact. This new moon is where you plant the seed of your intention. The next new moon in Aquarius, which will happen in just about 2 weeks after this new moon, will be the first major moment of illumination. It will be your first big chance to see the real world impact that your intention on your community, your partnerships, and your relationships, reflecting the collective themes brought by Aquarius. So we can see this cycle of the moon. The new moon is setting the intention, and the full moon is measuring the impact, and then cycling back again through that. Intention, measuring impact. How do you do this? This practical work through conscious, regular check-ins. By bravely asking for feedback from those you trust, by paying ruthless attention, not just to what you meant to do, but what actually happened. And as a result of your actions, it's a constant dance between your inner compass and the outer world. And I'd just also like to say right now that if you're enjoying this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe, share it with a friend or a colleague. It helps this channel grow, and it helps this message reach those who need to hear it. The sky, like life, never stands still. The moment this new seed is planted, the moon immediately begins a new journey, and in doing so, she shows us the path forward. She lays out a map for how to make our heartfelt intention real. Shortly after the sun and moon unite in Leo, the moon will move on, crossing the border into the next zodiac sign, Virgo. Virgo is the sign of practical details, of dedicated service, of meticulous craftsmanship, and of simply doing the work that needs to be done. And awaiting for her there is Mars, the planet of action, of drive, of assertion, and of getting things done. This transit, this meeting of the moon and Mars in Virgo, is the how. It is the answer to the question, I have this big, beautiful intention, now what? Your grand, courageous, heartfelt Leo intention needs a humble, practical, well thought out Virgo plan. Mars in Virgo is not a blunt instrument. It is like a surgeon's scalpel, incredibly precise, highly effective, and sharply focused. This is the energy that allows you to take your big, beautiful, heartfelt goal and break it down into small, manageable, practical steps. What is the very next email you need to send? What is the one phone call you need to make? What is the first item on the to-do list? Don't just dream it, schedule it, organize it, and do it. Mars demands action, and Virgo demands that the action be skillful, efficient, and well thought. This is how you build a cathedral, one perfectly laid brick at a time. It's about making your big vision real through small, consistent efforts. After her work in Virgo is done, the moon moves into the next sign, Libra. Libra is the sign of balance, of justice, of partnership, and most importantly, of the other. Here, your plan, your action meets the world. You've made your first precise move, Mars and Virgo, and now you get to see how it affects your relationships and your environment. Does it create harmony? Does it create friction that requires negotiation? Does it call for an adjustment, a rebalance? Libra asks us to consciously consider the impact of our actions on others and to actively work to find a fair, just, and beautiful balance. It's about building bridges, not walls. A courageous intention is born from the heart. It is translated into precise, practical, and skillful action. And then it is tested, adjusted, and balanced in relationship with the world and with others. This is the formula. This is how a dream stops being a dream and starts becoming your reality. This is how to move from a wish to a lived experience. Now, it is worth saying that the next 2 weeks are going to be challenging because Mars is a tough planet. Even when it's sharp and precise, there is often a lot of difficulty that comes from Mars. And Pluto is a difficult planet as well. And between Mars and Pluto is the Via Combusta. The Via Combusta is the point between 15 degrees Libra and 15 degrees Scorpio.